BPA King of Bowling. Brought to you by the Hudepohl Brewing Company, America's great small brewery.
Look at this roll. Is that pure? That is pure roll. No deflection whatsoever. 10 in the pit. Every pin doing its job, of course, and Bill Heflin going into the fourth frame with a double working.
You know, I think that phrase, Jen, every pin doing its job, I think that's become as familiar with tri-staters as maybe Marty, who was with us a little bit earlier. You know, this one belongs to the Reds, and Nuxall rounding third, heading for home.
It's an institution, is it not?
I've been accused of belonging in an institution, but no, you know, when you sit back here and you watch, every pin does have a job to do, and actually the ball only hits 4 pins. A lot of people don't know that. So every pin does have an assignment, much like football. Everybody's got somebody to block, somebody to knock down, somebody to protect. It's a lot like that.
Well, for the person at home who maybe is just starting to get acquainted with bowling.
Right.
What is when you say there are 4 particular pins that have a job to do? Okay,
well, let's watch David Callery, for example. If he throws a good shot here, his ball will only touch the 1 pin, the 3, the 5, and the 9. You want to see it?
Perfect.
Okay. You want to see it on the replay? Let's watch. We'll show you the pins that the perfect ball touches. Now it's going to touch. There's the 1. Now it glances into the 3. Now it hits the 5, and it takes the 8 straight, or the 9 straight back, like we said before. And the 6 pin actually gets the 10. So everything else needs to be touched by another pin. That's why I say every pin doing its job.
And we'd like to thank Dave for that perfect execution to prove it.
Of course.
And of course, these are our Madison qualifiers, where they originated the 24-hour open bowling center. You can still do that 24 hours a day, anytime. Come on out to Madison Bowl.
Well, David Callery, after a bit of a slow start, has started to put together some nice frames here, back-to-back strikes in 4 and 5.
And of course, qualifying today is being conducted at one of the betting house centers, Crossgate Lanes. You can call out there and make reservations with our BPA ladies who do such a great job every weekend.
Indeed they do. All the houses around our area, the tri-state area. Folks do a marvelous job and always treat us with some great hospitality when we get out to their respective houses.
Watch the deflection, almost leaving the 5-10. Now watch the ball as it enters the 1-2 pocket, jump to the left. Right there, you see it jump to the left, missing the 5 pin altogether. One of the pins we're telling you that the ball should hit. Luckily, it was taken out by the 3 pin, which went to the right-hand wall and came across and took it out, leaving an easy spare, the 10 pin.
With all the ones we saw miss last week, I just have a feeling that with a guy like Bill Heflin and a guy like Dave Callery with so much experience, we're not going to see any, if very few, of those missed today in this match.
Exactly. And again, the conditioning will have something to do with it, but like in any conditioning, you have to make, or you can make, adjustments to compensate for it most of the time. And if you can't, you just grab a couple of 14Ks and forget about it.
Absolutely.
Have some fun. Soft 7. Bill Heflin knew he wasn't real pleased with that shot when it left his hand. Not a real authoritative release on that ball, Tom.
Bill Heflin started bowling in high school out at Norwood. Since then, he's chalked up 8 300 games. Shake that off.
And 7 299.
And 7 299s.
And there is yet another 1-pin pickup on the spare. And I guess every time we've seen Heflin so many times, he's just so fluid, so easygoing, just an absolute mastery over the sport, it looks like.
Well, contrast in styles, Brian Himmler. We watched him just absolutely massacre the pins. But you're talking a lot of stress and a lot of strain on your body. He overpowers the pins. Bill Heflin, he physically can't do that. So it's not like he doesn't want to or he shouldn't, but he physically can. As with David Callery, the same deal. We're all getting up into that age category where we're not as strong as we used to be. We learned the game more when there was long oil. Now, when I mean long oil, the lanes were dressed at 36 feet. We had to stroke the ball to strike. Now, at 24 foot, the kids have to throw harder. They have to put more on the ball or else the ball's rolled out. So the conditioning of the lanes now is actually creating a different bowler than what we used to be.
We'd like to thank all of our BPA representatives. The Betting House brothers, as I said, next week will be at Crossgate. And Bert and Judy White from Madison Bowl came out to see us this morning. We'd like to thank them for coming on out. And Gary Rolfus and Jimmy Lyles and Irv Hoinke and all our regulars.
Dave Callery looking for 10, and yay, finally got that 7 to fall. That 7 hadn't wanted to go down for about the last 2 weeks now.
Gives him 129 in the 6th frame. And if Bill Heflin should strike in the 7th, that would give him a 127. Let's see, some quick addition here. It's 2 pins.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
your math has improved dramatically since 1 year ago, I might add.
I knew you'd be impressed. I knew you'd be impressed.
I mean, last week, you were coming up with figures very quickly, and I was somewhat taken aback. I didn't get a chance to remind you that, though.
Well, there you see it. 2 pins, huh?
Doesn't have anything to do with that
This
calculator
little
over there.
pocket calculator. No, I don't have one of those. It's not a bad idea, though.
Well, a 2-pin advantage for Callery, as we mentioned. Both players working on strikes in the 7th. This is Heflin's half of the 8th.
Seen that 5-pin blocking that 7 and 10 both ways.
Exactly. Let's take a look at it here, if we might. The head pin is not going to do its job, and let's just watch some interference here. We got Munoz in the way. There's the head pin going to the wall, coming back. Now the 5-pin was going to lean into the 10 and take it out, but you saw the head pin come off the right-hand wall and say, nah, not today.
Neither player has yet missed a spare, and still that holds true as Heflin gets his spare in the 8th. And now it's Mr. Callery's turn in the 8th.
Very important foundation frame, especially when you're working on a strike in the 7th. He can put the pedal to the metal right here. It's some foundation. A little pressure on Bill.
You bet. You're right, Jen. It is a big frame.
Somebody needs to take control at this point.
And as you mentioned, this is the most opportune time to do it with your opponent missing on a spare.
It's in the area, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's in the area.
Uh-huh. That's the way you do it.
So now we take that 2-pin lead up to 12, do we not?
Exactly. And for you guys trying to follow what we do at home, we don't actually take actual pinfall. You project ahead sometimes. In other words, he still only has a 2-pin lead, but we project it into 12. And should he strike again, we project it into 22, regardless that the fact that Bill hasn't had a chance to defend himself yet.
And looking for 3.
Whoops,
you knew that right
wide,
away.
yeah.
I'm sure he did as well.
Yeah, that was an errant shot altogether. And if we can take a look at it here, watch his hand. His thumb will physically roll around the ball early. There you see it. Now watch it skid, skid, skid. Now right there it should go into a roll, but no, it's still waiting. Head pin goes in front of the 2-pin, leaving it very difficult. 2, 4, 8, and there you see why it's difficult.
Our first open frame of the match. And our scorecard obviously changes the complexion of this match.
67-87 will project, as he said, in the 9th frame for Bill Heflin. Now we'll give him a 3-pin lead, and if he can get the strike up in the 9th, it's going to be a big lead. You can be sure of that.
Well, Heflin's been here many times before. Here it is. And there she goes. Jen, as if on cue.
Absolutely crucifies the 9th frame. 167 in the 8th. But the all-important strike in the 9th frame, even with a spare, gives him 187, which would be a 3-pin advantage. But Dave Callery could still strike out and win if he doesn't follow it up with a strike right here. Dave Callery's potential would be 214.
And with 2 strikes and a good count, Bill can lock him out.
Yes. Whoops, don't go away.
Not yet. Not yet.
Don't go to the fridge yet.
We are in the 10th.
I like to keep my little King's cooler right next to the to the sofa, you know, so you can sit back. You don't have to worry about them commercial breaks. You can go right through them.
Send the dog. No.
Hey, I got a dog that...
No.
Okay, we can't do that. That's right. How about the wife?
We're working on it.
Send the wife.
No way.
Ooh.
She's on the couch
Not
drinking a little
touching
King.
Mr. Heflin picks up that 7, and he'll have one more crack at it.
Let's see here. Mary, just kidding, Mary High, for that nice letter.
I think you ought to be more concerned about your lovely wife hearing that comment.
Oh, she's used to that, Adam, Tommy. We have a special relationship.
Yeah. Well, now Bill Heflin is going to try to finish off on a high note with 10 up, 10 down. And that's just what he does. So now, what does Callery have to do to win this match?
He needs a double. Easy.
And set in
was
double
in
time,
stereo.
I might
Double
add.
on 8.
That was in stereo, yeah.
Quadraphonic.
A double in double time. Right here.
Yeah. I guess you could say that, Tom.
Yeah.
The first one puts him in the ballpark. The second one can put him in the driver's seat. He's got to have this one.
Looking for 10. And 10 are down.
I just love this game. This is a great game, isn't it? It's exciting. It's fun. You can win a lot of money, by the way. $750.
You've cleaned up over the years,
top
Jen.
dog.
You should know. Cleaned up. You think Bill Phelan's been Bill Phelan? I apologize.
Who?
I don't know what the heck I'm talking. You think Bill Heflin has been in a few of these kind of matches?
Oh, man.
He's just sitting back like another day at the office.
It's out of his hands at this point. There's really no reason to get upset or worry about it. The situation is this: if Dave Callery strikes on this ball, he's got a good chance of winning the match. Yes.
With authority, he has stepped up there and done exactly what he needed to do to still be in the match and a chance of winning back-to-back strikes. And now, so what does he need to do to seal it?
Not hit his ankle.
8 pins. Four pins. You're right. See, now I need a calculator, right? You need
Here, borrow mine, will you?
There you go. 4 pins.
As long as he doesn't hit his ankle and gets 4 pins.
Well,
that beats 8 even, too,
yeah,
Jen.
exactly.
Fine.
No doubt about it.
So Dave Callery will move on. And the Hudepohl King of TV Bowling, the 14K Hudepohl King of TV Bowling, will also roll on. Time once again for our 14K Golden Ball contest. If you're not familiar with how it works, let me tell you a little bit about it. Kathy Brocksterman joining us now, and she's going to be drawing a studio contestant and a home player. Now, the studio contestant is going to have the opportunity to come down here and roll the golden ball for a $400 jackpot. If he or she should happen to roll a strike, well, then both contestants would split the $400, and the bowler will get to keep the gorgeous golden ball. And this week it is sponsored by the Ball Shop. Now, if he or she happens not to roll a strike, however many pins are knocked down, each contestant will win that number of free games at the BPA house of their choice. And Kathy, I guess first of all, who is our home player this week?
Charles Griffin from Harrison, Ohio.
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on him. And our studio contestant.
We have a Terry Dixon.
Terry, where is Terry Dixon? All right.
Terry, you got that bum knee, but we're rooting for you anyway. $400 on the line. If he rolls a strike, both contestants splitting that $400 jackpot. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, 1 pin short. Nevertheless, an awfully good try. 9 pins knocked down. If you would like to be a part of our 14K Golden Ball contest, here's all you have to do. Send your name and address to the BPA Golden Ball contest, 1821 Summit Road, Cincinnati, 45237. More action coming up in a moment.